All right, Chelsea fans, welcome back to another episode. That's right, the Lesbian Podcast. Hopefully, your favorite Chelsea podcast out there, and a part of the Men in Blazers Media Network. It's Dan, one of your hosts here, alongside Nick and Yan. The part 2 of Keep Sell Loan 25, 26. Look, if you didn't listen to the first part, just go back and listen to that now. Otherwise, you're going to lose a little bit of the context, a lot of the good humor, the fun vibes that we've been having as we slice and dice up the squad, put on our sporting directors' hats, try to build and assemble a team of 25 to go win every goddamn tournament Chelsea Football Club are in next season. And that is always the objective, as it should be, because unlike other London clubs, it's not acceptable to keep a manager around if he doesn't win a trophy. That's for sure.
We're in phase 2. Others are in phase 13. I think it's just we're doing the job for the sporting directors here, which I think is just a charity and that we're putting out there. Just give them the blueprint, let them run with it.
Well, exactly, precisely that. We're doing our best over here.
Well, anyway, just keep in mind, the first part was goalkeepers and defenders. We got through that one. This one is all about the midfielders and the attacks. We broke it up into 4 groups. The goal is that at the end of this, we will have a 25-person squad that will be able to compete in the Premier League and the Champions League. Though we do kind of call it the fact that, Chelsea are still signing players. We're still, as the time of recording, it's the 8th of June. So we are still in the special window of consideration for the Club World Cup and signing players.
So
we take into consideration the most special.
I feel special personally about it. So
they're doing it for you, man.
I know.
Well, we're talking about how special it was. Like we took into consideration things like Mike Maignan potentially being signed, and that factored in. That might also come into consideration here. We talk about some of the attacking groupings that we have. So just keep that in mind as you're listening to it, because we might have some empty spaces in our 25-person squad at the end of it all. But we're going to jump right in to the midfielders. Enzo Fernandez is at the tippity top of the list here. 94% said keep, 5% said sell. They're seeing the Real Madrid numbers and their eyes are just watering and glazing over. I think that's got to be what's happening here, because, man, what a transformative season for Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea Football Club. His best senior season as a footballer. Like, I don't know yet. I just like that 5%. I don't know if there's a number. Is there a number you would sell him at? Like, this is a keep.
Well, there is a number for someone here.
Have you met the sporting director? Of course,
yeah, but that's a different question. You're asking us. This is about us pundits. Look, first of all, I feel like it would be remiss for me not to reference what Nick said earlier about obviously the controversy in the summer. So he came into the season with being a bit of a sort of naive and uneducated with the situation on the bus. I don't think we need to hash here, but I do think it was a mistake that he learned from, and I don't think it represents his nature, as you would see the harmony with his teammates. So he had a rough start. He was, I also want to credit Maresca and how Maresca coached Enzo Fernandez in this. I feel like he's done really well. There's a couple of players like Cucurella we've spoken about. And of course, Enzo Fernandez, he taught him how to crash the box and this, that, and the other. And you'd think of the time that Lampard had him or something like he would have done it. But no, it's Maresca's coached him really well, his namesake. And I really like Enzo Fernandez. He's combative. He's cultured. He will fight for Chelsea. He will literally, I said even like when his first 6 months at Chelsea, when he was fighting Man United players by himself for the badge and other teammates wouldn't come and join him. And he just got here. He's got that classic South American Argentinian. Even if he does leave Chelsea, while I'm here, I will bleed for this club. And these are my people. These are my tribe. I loved the fact how when he was celebrating in the final with Reece James, he slapped Reece in the face and they were like headbutting each other. And I just really, really, I just think that, and I wonder, I saw that Willie Issa, the mentality guy doing the hacker in the end, in the dressing room. I think you guys have probably seen that. But I love that. Loads of people were laughing at that. But I love that. Of course, he's a Kiwi rugby player. Of course, he's going to do the hacker at some point. But I love this kind of like raw mentality that's in the club, and there's not much of it because we're a bunch of kids, really. So our captain and vice captain are headbutting each other and roaring. I don't want to lose either one of those guys. And Enzo, I think, is important. Not just because of assists and goals. I just think he would go to war for us. And I think,
so someone who would go to war for us, Nick, who wants to be a leader, who's hyping up the squad, the type of guy you claim you would love in your team. You can put a price on that.
Yeah, there's a price on every player in the world.
Let me just do the exchange rate from dollars quickly to pounds.
It's a keep for me. I think Chelsea end up playing a 3-man midfield this year, and I think he will be even better.
110 million.
It's 150 million plus is the fucking number for those at home.
110 million pounds for those at home.
Yeah, but our exchange rate is just getting crushed right now, so it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, I tell you, I've been watching the soap opera of your billionaire boys, and it is mental.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, I think like there is a huge chance that if Enzo Fernandez has another 20 plus goal contribution season, whether that be assists or goals or the mix, that he is probably on Real Madrid's radar at some point.
Oh, he already is.
It's been known for a long time, right? So if they come in big, which I don't think financially they can do this year, I think they're pretty done as far as like signings go. If they come in with a big number, 150 million plus, then yeah, I think there's a huge chance that our sporting structure will sell him. I don't have any doubts about that actually, but I think taking that off the table, which I do not think will happen, 3-man midfield, him and potentially Caicedo in a more advanced role up the field, it just fills me with hope and optimism. And I think like if we really want to win the ball up higher, if we really want to have a more dynamic attack, it was pretty anemic at the end of the year, and he played a big role in just getting us barely over the line. But if we want to be more consistent, he has to find those pockets to be dynamic. He has to find a way to get into the box. He has to find a way to score more and take the burden off of Cole, take the burden off of the striker option as well. So, yeah, I mean, I love that he and Caicedo have really started to gel after a tough year and a half. I want to see more from him. I think that he will play in a 3-man midfield this year and be very, very good.
Yeah, but just very quickly. Madrid, by the way, after losing finally Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric, he's the perfect guy for them. Because obviously for us, he's playing as this finisher, crashing the box, but he's a sublime passer, and they'll see him as that Toni Kroos, like kind of like almost Modric guy who can pass and score. So yeah, they will have him all day. You know, obviously he's Spanish speaking. I don't know how good his English is yet, but yeah, I mean he's in the untouchables. It's like Cole Palmer, it's like Reece James, it's Caicedo. He's probably him and Cucurella are like sort of just under that. So I get it.
Wow, that's the 4. That's interesting. If you had asked the 4 at the beginning of last season, it might have been a little bit different. So it's a fun game to play. One who's not untouchable, because all of us said keep here, unless you get a crazy number according to Nick, which is just odd. Kieran Dewsbury Hall is one who seems definitely very movable according to the vast majority of respondents. 79% said sell, 16.5% said
so
keep.
I'm laughing at what Nick's written. Why have you signed it off like a freaking work email?
Don't reveal. Don't reveal.
Yeah,
4% said loan.
Spoilers up in here. God.
All of us said sell, but apparently Nick wants to do it with a little bit of flourish as well.
I don't.
He don't know him like that. He's not personal and casual like that. It's very formal.
Yeah, he is. Kieran Dewsbury Hall is a formal. That's a formal guy. Like, I sell with kind regards. It's not his fault that the fucking PSR system made him an attractive option for Chelsea to do player trading with. Like, I don't think he's a fit for the team. I think he played very well in the Conference League, but that was probably the peak of the powers for him at Chelsea. And I just I think a West Ham or another team like that would be in for him. And I think it would make really good sense. Matt Law has talked about Chelsea wanting to move on quickly from players that don't necessarily fit. And I think that he's going to be one of those guys.
Well, Matt Law, I think I listened to one of your shows. I think it was Matt Law on here saying that it was seen as maybe it was a different other podcasts are available, possibly Matt Law on here saying that, it may have been a misguided gift from the sporting directors to Maresca, as in like, this is your guy, right? But like, in the landscape of Premier League football, it ain't worked. So Nick sells with kind regards. I sell with the warmest of regards.
Oh, Wow.
I'm going to sincerely
look like a
sell Dewsbury Hall then in that regard.
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree upon a formal
There's so many regards. When it comes to Dewsbury Hall, what we all agree on, there's regards, right? There's regards going on.
Nice
we've
guy.
regarded your time. We don't know if we've regarded it extremely well or extremely poorly, but we've regarded it.
We hardly knew you.
We're gonna have that messy goal though. He had that messy
yes!
top goal.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's good.
Fucking hell. Oh, did you put Mudryk in this list? Is he in this list?
No, he's not. Why would I put him in this
list?
list? That's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know.
You can't touch the guy right now.
Actually, let's just say this out loud. He's not on this list because he currently can't play football anymore. So
yeah. It would have just been
with legal regards to everybody.
Yeah, let's not touch that. Let's
everyone.
We're done. We're moving on to Moises Caicedo. It's a better point of conversation.
Yeah,
96% said keep. What the hell were the 3 of you that said sell, 3% of you that said sell, and the 1% said loan doing? You're not.
This should be 100%.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I had someone in my YouTube comments telling me, like, having a go at me, saying he's not world class. Granted, the thing is, they were talking about, like, the old Chelsea midfielders of old and stuff, and like, like Ballack and stuff. I was like, yeah, Ballack was good and he was great, and like Essien, they were good and they were great, but football's different now. Yeah, it's very, very different. There's a lot of requirements. Caicedo is like an everything player. And let's not spend, I realize we were spending far too much time on certain players here, but many of you would have seen that clip of Scholes on the overlap saying, I don't see what he offers to Chelsea. I did a video on the second channel of Football Yannick, if you want to go and see my extra content there. But I was just talked about the punditry at large and how it's regressed into a dismal state of fucking shit. And one of the best midfielders in Premier League history, Paul Scholes, like most naturally gifted, just slouched in a chair, like just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And anyway, the numbers dictate it. The eye test dictates it. He's incredible. He's Chelsea's player of the season, fans player of the season. But what does he offer Chelsea? No one knows, apparently.
Well, you're about to see in the Champions League next year how fucking good he is.
Yeah, he'll have to stop sucking his daughter's toe for a moment. Sorry, I'm bringing this down to the trenches. Yeah. But
no, I mean, this is a like genuinely. I don't know, because I think I reserve world class for like very few players, right?
Yeah,
I think
as you should. Yeah.
I think we over categorize these things, and like not 100 million guys can't be world class, okay? Yeah. But I think if he's not world class, he's on the verge of being world class. Essien's one of my favorite ever Chelsea players. I think he's going to be better than Essien. N'Golo Kante is the peak. So
yeah, but he will never be as good at N'Golo Kante or what Kante did, but he will do things that Kante didn't do.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the point here. And the truth is, to reference Klopp again, I don't know why I keep bringing up Klopp. Klopp was speaking about how they had a 111 million pound transfer fee agreed for him before we did. Everyone was willing to break the Premier League transfer record for this guy because he's that guy.
You mean plucky underdog Liverpool?
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't spend big money ever. Look, we're going to take an ad break real quick. When we come back, we'll get to other midfielders. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Omari Kellerman was the next one that we wanted to get to, which I think Yan put out there.
I love the way you said that.
Kellerman.
You really sprinted through there.
It's kind of like he sprinted through our minds there.
You said it like a regional, a guy regional Brit. So like, alright, Kellerman. But yeah, I think it's like a Kellyman. You really sort of slipped through that, didn't you? Yeah.
Anyway, 61% said loan, 36% said sell, and then 3% said keep. What is he even doing here? Is the maybe the
I'll tell
question.
You what he's doing here. I'll tell you what he's fucking doing.
PSR, baby.
Yeah, it's the Ian Matson switcheroo. That's what he's doing here. Yep. You sell each other an academy graduate at an inflated fee to circumvent PSR stuff, and that's he's a great young footballer. Apparently, I don't want to slag him off. I don't want to be mean.
No, he's been injured the entire time he's been here. So we don't know.
It's yeah. We joke around, but this is a young lad. He's apparently very good, and we'll never know until we see him play football. But let's go. He's not going to play football for Chelsea this upcoming season, or I'll be shocked. It'll be a welcome surprise if he's amazing and suddenly affects the team. But yeah, alone in it. Also, whatever. I don't give a shit.
right, so it's a loan, maybe a sale, nowhere near the first team.
For a while, man.
Wow. Keeps the loan 25-26 has definitely devolved.
He's a person, you guys. He's a person, but fuck it. I don't care.
I was tagging on to that as long as I could, but yeah.
Nick, any thoughts before we go on to Chukwuemeka?
Just sell, just loan or sell. It doesn't, whatever.
That's what I said.
Yeah, but I didn't do it so flippantly.
Yeah.
We need more kind regards on this episode, apparently.
We've done those, mate. Dewsbury Hall got cleaned up on the kind regards.
Yeah, there's so many regards.
Let's get to Leslie here. Of the individuals who responded in the poll, it was 49% said sell. You had 34% say loan, and then 18% said keep.
That's interesting how we all said what the people didn't say. Yeah. That makes sense.
Which is a loan. I mean, we all went with the loan.
This feels like Strasbourg written all over it to me.
Nick. So, okay. So Nick, you said, just to talk for you, you said you think he's more of an 8 than a 6. I think he's a really good Bob. I think Southampton, he actually shone in a historically bad team. But I just wrote keep if Asugo has a horrible injury in the USA.
Why are you going to put that out there? Why did
I don't know, because
Ian is preparing for all eventualities. Apparently, that's what he's doing.
It's Chelsea heritage. Go to America and lose a player. That's what happens, right?
Wow.
Everyone knock on wood, please. Ruben or do something to ward off the bad spirits. For the love of God.
It's Mr. Ruben or Nkunku, or at least we're going down in profile. No, hold on. I'm not wishing he breaks his. I'm not saying him. I feel like I need to clean this up a little bit.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Leslie Uchukwu can help Chelsea if we're in a position where we need him, but hopefully we don't need him. Therefore, loan. Done.
Cool. Okay, great. I think we're all in alignment there. When it comes to Chukwuemeka, which is another individual, 72% said sell. 16% said keep, 12% said loan. I think, now we're on the sell train here. Nick had a variant option of it, but so I'll let him take the lead.
So, I mean, it seems pretty obvious where this is going. Like, I don't think this is he's gonna stay by any means, but like, as an 8, he is a super interesting option to me. And if we are to play a 3-man midfield, you need 6 midfielders. If that is going to be your predetermined strategy for the season, if Enzo Maresca decides that the team would be more balanced that way, or it's a way to get Enzo Fernandez more forward and whatever, like, he would be a really interesting option. I do not believe that he will stay at the club, but if I'm making my own team, he would be in my team as a 6 midfielder. I think he can do a lot of stuff. He's a really interesting creator. He needs to get healthy. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. If I'm going to give Wes Fofana a bunch of shit for being injured, he's been injured, I think, even more than Wes Fofana has. But if he can get healthy, he's a cup player, potentially gets in the odd Premier League game when we have a big Champions League game. Like, I think there's a lot that you could do with him.
Yeah, I just want to say he's a really, really talented footballer as well. Yes. Like, he reminds me Nate Chalabar a little bit in operating those higher spaces and tight spaces in the final third. He's despite being quite sort of tall and gangly, he's really good with the ball tight to his feet.
Yes,
and he's got a wicked goal in him. I just feel like he's deserves shouts. He can be awesome, but it's too risky to like put the farm on him to contribute. And I feel like the market recognizes he's good, and I think there's value in a sell.
All right. Well, that would be, I think, the general consensus here. One that also has a very strong general consensus from our grouping as well as the listeners. No surprise that the guy at Strasbourg this season, at least our perspective, Andre Santos, 97% keep. 1.8% said sell, and then 1.4% said loan. This is a definite capital K EEP keep from this grouping of individuals. These pundits, as Yan would say, want to keep this guy, keep him in the club.
This pundit in a 3-man midfield thinks he's starting by the end of the season.
Are we a 3-man midfield now?
That is how good I think he is. Like, I genuinely, I think there is a world in which this guy comes in and is our player of the Club World Cup. I think he is a player for the early season, when Chelsea are probably not going to have their full team fit and fully functioning until the end of September, probably, just given all the rest and the requirements that are going to happen for a really short, really chaotic preseason. I genuinely believe in this guy so much. And I've, if you listen to our South America specials, that Jess and Nath are very much on the same page with him. So this is a no fucking brainer for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's special, man. He, we were going to buy him and put him into Graham Potter's team immediately in the first team, but we had that visa issues. He went and captained the under-20 Brazil side to a championship, wore the armband, scored the most goals from midfield. He scored loads of goals for
he's a lone team, but Strasbourg.
Crazy. Which is like freaking Reece James at Wigan is giving. Yes. Do you know what I mean? And he's he can play attacking midfield, defensive midfield. I know people are talking about him deeper, but if Nick's thing comes to pass and Enzo goes, he will do that Enzo role as well, score loads of goals while actually probably, dare I say, defending better than Enzo up the pitch in terms of tackling and all this kind of stuff. But Enzo's amazing and his leadership. Yeah, we could have something serious on our hands here. He's absolutely key. Even if I don't necessarily think he's going to start for a little while or certain games, if he's going to be just off the bench most games and relied on, if you want Chelsea to have the best chance of being very good, he is in your 16 most used 16 players.
Real Madrid will also come calling for him someday, so just make a note of this in your head.
He is that guy.
He's 100% that guy, and I hope that he just thrives this season. Really do.
Yeah, he seems ready.
Cool. I think we're all aligned there. That's a great place to be. Good to have Andre Santos coming back in, even though we potentially could have used him in the back half of last season just for some stretches.
Potentially.
Yeah, a lot. Sugo is another one that we have coming in.
Sugo. I want to hear like the Spanish announcer. Sugo. He'll score. He'll score the occasional Asu goal. You know what I'm saying?
Gosh,
I shouldn't like it, but I do.
31%, 3.1% said sell, and then 39% said loan.
You just bought him. You can't sell him. What are you doing?
Hey, look, any chance to make $1 or £1 or €1, whichever currency market we're operating in, it feels very, very much like, unless Jan's prediction about what terribly might happen to this player in the US, because you put it on him.
Let's let that go.
No, let it go.
Yeah, keep in a like he's been billed by the briefings as the Caicedo backup, and that's what I said. Like Leslie, I reckon could do because we've seen him occupy that space. But yeah, he's there. We need him. If he's, I sort of defer to the experts. Apparently, he's good. So we need someone who's good to be a deputy to a great player. So
yeah, just real destroyer vibes, which I'm
here for it.
You need, and I'm. Central midfield is my favorite position to watch on the pitch, just in case anyone had any questions about that. I'm excited about what I've seen. Of course, the Portuguese league does not transfer directly to the Premier League all the time, so probably needs a little bit of time, probably ends up starting as like a cup player initially and then grows throughout the season. So, yeah, excited about him, though.
Yeah, we know also Maresca will do defend game states and put on defensive players for slightly more attacking players, so he might see minutes coming on for like a slightly more offensive player.
Yep.
So,
all right, well then the last one of our midfield grouping, Romeo Lavia. Again, another high one here in terms of the keep percentage. It was 98%. I mean, I think if you try to sell him, it'd be very hard to get your book value back on him at this point in time. So that makes a lot of sense to me. 2% said sell, and then just like a handful of 0.1% said loan. I think the only thing that we have, and you put this in here for yours, Nick, it's a keep, but also keep him healthy next season is going to be the critical one. And if you have players like Esugol coming in, if you have players like Andre Santos coming in, there is an opportunity for rotation to make sure that some of these players don't get stretched to the max when it comes to being put in positions where maybe they're going to force themselves into the red zone and do an injury perspective.
So he to me, just given how he's been more injured than Fofana. He's been more injured than Reece over the last couple of seasons. Like this, you talked in part one, Yan, about is this his last chance to make it at Chelsea? I think this season is maybe a make or break for him. Maybe it's too early. Yeah. He is very young.
Yeah.
But if you can't even be available to be selected for half of the games in a season, you're just we don't have room for passengers on this 25-man squad, right? My hope is, and injuries are not his fault unless he's going out and playing, side games and getting hurt, doing that. Injuries are nobody's fault. I'm not blaming him for getting injured. I wasn't blaming Reece or West for getting injured. He really does need to be healthy this year, though, and he needs to be available for selection at minimum. I think that the midfield is super interesting with him in it because he allows for some flexibility and can rotate around in a midfield that I think has a lot of very interesting profiles in it. I see him as a once a week sort of guy, and depending on what type of game we are playing, could be a very useful option in the Champions League potentially.
Big time.
I think that's where I see him playing more than the Premier League. I think there have been times where he's thrived in the physicality of the Premier League and times where he's been absolutely battered by it. And my gut is a little bit more time and space in Europe maybe is a good thing for him. And I hope upon hope that he stays healthy this season, because I genuinely think if he's able to play those 45 games that I was thinking about for Reece, maybe even 30. God,
I could
30
say, yeah,
amazing.
Just steady on, yeah.
That then you get to really assess if you have a player or not.
Well, I think we have a player. We know Maresca's kind of him and the Fofana are if we had these two guys, we'd be way better. We know also Cole Palmer fucking loves Lavia playing with him. He said he went on record recently and said he people don't know it yet, but he's one of the best midfielders in the world. Palmer saying this, and Palmer he did say he got quite excited about Moises Caicedo as well, but he did a similar thing with Lavia when talking about him. We all know Lavia just basically has that instinct, that sort of interpretation of space in front of him for a lane that other players don't see. That will a Palmer will receive in tight space, or indeed someone like a Jackson, a runner will run in. He just does that forward pass. He's got the Mateo Kovacic and press resistance, keeping the ball tight, but he will release that vertical pass very quickly, which no other player in the Chelsea squad does. Not always needed. It's a game state thing. And yes, great, important, obviously key.
His passing needs to get better too. He's okay on a short pass, those medium long rangers.
But his eye for the vertical line breaking pass is unparalleled. No one else is doing it. You see, if Enzo Fernandez is getting his head up looking, he'll play a beautiful ball. But no one's going to play a quick ball like that.
There's also to be fair, there's plenty of times where he could make the pass earlier, but we don't run for it. And so that's maybe just a whole structural problem.
Yeah, but also it's a chemistry thing. He's not playing. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to keep in mind, but the midfield grouping, no surprise here. 1 through 5 for the three of us, lockstep. We are just
cheated.
In sync here.
Mine
into our top
first,
5. Oh, okay. We don't need to talk about who filled in their information first in the script. That's very unfair. And that's unkind. No kind regards there from Nick Verlaine.
No, unkind.
But apparently, because you put it in first, I'll give you the opportunity to run down 1 through 5 for us, and then we can take the your 6 wildcard one that you have as well.
It's Caicedo, Fernandez, Santos, Lavia, Asugo, maybe a Carnes. Like I said, if we do move to a 3-man midfield, you probably do need a 6th in there. It's an option. It's an option that you already have on the books that you don't need to buy. So maybe, but I'm leaving myself some tactical flexibility there.
Cheats.
Well, okay, then we will get our last ad break out of the way. When we come back, we'll do the entirety of the attacking group, and then we will get into our full squads for your review, your complaint, your potential, celebration of the type of squad we were able to put together in this Keep Sell Loan 25-26 edition. But we're going to get that ad break out of the way. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, it's all about the attack now. Pedro Neto up top, up first. 82% said keep, was 18% said sell, and then a 0.5% said loan. I mean, just came in this past season. You'd be really hard pressed to try to turn any type of profit if you were thinking about selling him as a part of that 18% there. And so, with that said, gives you some flexibility in terms of was able to play up top in that kind of striker position for a couple games last season when we needed some coverage. Not great, but he did it. And, gives you some positional flexibility there, Jan. So, I think that he could improve year over year. That's definitely an opportunity. But, senior individual, understands a little bit more about playing in the Premier League, has plenty of experience in it, and could get better year over year.
Sure. He was the superstar signing of last summer. I know we signed Joao Felix, more on him and later, Jadon Sancho, which was high profile, but Neto was the guy. I said Neto, I said at the time, Neto's the kind of signing that Man City fans would have got excited about, who just won the Premier League. If they signed Pedro Neto, they'd be like, hell yeah. This guy is torn apart Man City. He's torn apart Chelsea before. He's great. He starts for Portugal. Portugal have got a million amazing attackers. His productivity, he needs to do better. And I think
12 total goal contributions for the year. 6 goals, six assists. It's not enough.
It's not enough, especially considering his experience and age. But he is very talented. He can play across all three positions. Dan was right to reference how, I know for Lazio, he played up top a little bit and he worked hard for the team. He sweat his freaking gonads off till he was going to die for the team, playing as that pressing false nine. He's a really good team player. He's got some immense quality. We've seen him score a couple of bangers. He'll probably be the first person to tell you he wants to get his numbers up. But yeah, he's just a very good player that we've seen greatness from. I think great attitude, great player, not good enough numbers, but I feel like that will come. So keep.
Need to see improvement from him. For a 60 million pound player, the production just simply didn't map to what the expectations were. And I think he's another player in the Champions League that could be very interesting for us. I think his speed, the fact that he was able to stay healthy this year after having 3 injury-riddled seasons in a row at Wolves, the fact that he was available all season, huge credit to him. He did work his ass off for us. I liked his attitude. He scored the most important goal of the season for us at Fulham. This is a guy who I think could...
And what a goal.
Yeah, banger, an absolute banger. But I want to see that more. I want to just see him take rips at goal and not put it in rosette. That's it.
Yeah.
So just maybe if you want some fun stats on it here, matches played 44. It's most ever in a senior season for him. 41 at 19 years of age at Wolves was his record previously. 32 matches started. 2,790 minutes across all competitions. That beats his 2020-21 season by about a full extra start there. 6 goals, which is the most he's ever had in a season. 5 of his previous high. He had 6 assists, which falls below his last season at Wolves, which was 10, but he had 12 goals and assists across all competitions. Puts him 1 below his senior record, which was last season at Wolves. So maybe, I don't know. I think maybe some of the need to see more is just the acclimatization piece, because generally, I actually think it was a pretty strong, level up season for him going from Wolves.
But by far our best defensive winger as well. By far.
Which demonstrates his experience. Yeah, which demonstrates, great example, because it demonstrates his seniority and experience. Mm-hmm. And I think because he's not an expressive, kid like the rest of it, just vibing, he's probably relying a little bit more on the team ethic. I think his level will rise as the team goes better. So yeah, great points on the availability as well, because that's huge for him.
Liam Delap joins the poll as the latest signing for Chelsea Football Club. 99.1%.
He's the best striker we've ever seen, and I think it's really important.
Mate, he's never not scored a goal for Chelsea.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What a great find from Joe Shields, who's only signed Man City Academy talent at Chelsea.
Look,
bam.
It's we're just gonna say keep, and we're gonna move on because he hasn't played a competitive match for Chelsea Football Club. We just need to include him.
He will though. Club World Cup. It's for him, baby. Let's go.
It is. Look, odds on him being the highest goal contributor in the entire Club World Cup. That'd be a fun little one.
Okay.
I mean,
That'd
not
be
very high,
interesting.
probably. I don't know.
Jesus.
Nani Madueke is the next one. 75% said keep, and then effectively 24% said sell, and then about a 1% was a loan for him. I think this was the defining season for Nani Madueke. It was going to be, is he going to be the guy at Chelsea? Can he be a guy at Chelsea, or is it going to be an opportunity for Chelsea to look somewhere else to reinforce this area? I mean, incredible, like total season overall, big step forward for him in terms of just like how he contributes at a senior level. I think this is a no-brainer keep, Yan.
Can I just say, if
you can say,
did this,
that's why I threw it to you.
You did this poll on the 6th of June. If you did it the day later in the evening when he got a man of the match performance for England, I wonder if that's 74. We just got up to over 80 because he's playing out of position for England and just looks really, really threatening and like, just actually like the England's only chance to attack, and Thomas Tuchel's star-studded side against Andorra. And obviously gets the assist for Kane, and it's like a really lovely assist. Yeah. Noni, I think, can be petulant. I think can be childish, but I forgive him because he is a very young player. He's apparently got this incredible drive to be like this insane player. Yet he's humble enough to be the B-Tech Cole Palmer in the team and be like, Cole's the truth. He's the guy. We rely on him. He's a superstar. But even though Noni's got this ego and he wants to be that guy, and it comes out badly sometimes, but also I think it might serve him in the long run. Noni, I think Noni is good. He will be great. I don't know if he will ever be the GOAT, but I feel like he will always represent an excellent, great value signing for us. If we sell him, we're going to double our money on him, but I don't think there's a point for that because of his productivity. And just finally, Maresca's he's dug him out the most, in public, Maresca. And he says, I do it because he can be great, because he can be so good. Maresca's always saying, he says, so I'm pushing him. And I think Maresca does want him. And he's the quintessential Enzo Maresca winger as well. So I feel like, yes, keep.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy. He had 14 goal contributions, all comps. I think was our highest production winger in the category.
It's got to be.
But only 2 more than Pedro Neto, who I want to see more from. So I definitely want to see more from Noni Madueke. I think he can get up to 17, 18, 19 this season. I do believe there's been a massive improvement in his game. I think there's been massive improvement from him defensively. He's not nearly as good as Pedro Neto is if we're going to hold him to that standard defensively. But I think he's infinitely more creative for me. I think Neto's kind of a run in straight lines kind of guy. I think Madueke has some real sauce to him. He had more goals in the Premier League than Bukayo Saka did. So,
yeah, I mean, Saka was injured for ages, but I'll take the point. Yeah.
Do you want to get one updated correction there, Nick, on just a stat from Optadan?
Yeah, would love it.
So he was actually tied for goal and assist contributions with another player, another winger across all competitions at 14.
Oh, it's going to be Jadon Sancho.
Yeah. 5 and 9 for
14.
Yeah,
well, he got 10 assists. Jadon Sancho got 10 assists. So.
Nine across all comps.
Oh, okay.
5 and 9. But you're very good off the top of the dome. It's wonderful. Yeah. Just want to make sure you're aware of that, and listeners
he must. Yeah, he got there at the end. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just something to consider.
Good memory. About good memories of Sancho. Like I'll never. Yeah.
Well, what about the good memories with Nico Jackson? Nico Jackson, 67% said keep, 31, almost 32% said sell, and then 1% said loan. I think we were all pretty much a keep here. I only had a stipulation that if we bring in another player, Hugo, that maybe we make a shift here. That's my only thought.
No. I think it's a huge mistake to sell Nico Jackson. I know he's frustrating, and I take the point that the frustration with who he is and who he could be gets under people's skin. I think, at the end of the season, his petulance against Newcastle really dented him for me a little bit. But man, I just think there's a player there. I think if you sell him, much to the, I think your point on Fofana earlier in part one, Yan, about like if you sell Fofana,
see him thrive elsewhere.
Yeah. And I just think that it's a guarantee. If you sell him, he's going to become the guy that you thought he could be somewhere else. It would it would devastate me. Look, he's going to have to compete this year for the first time at Chelsea for the spot. Let's see what happens. Like, I don't think there's any harm in that. Like, let's see if he thrives in that environment. Let's see if he can beat out one or two other guys for the spot. And if he can, he deserves it. If he doesn't, then he won't play as much.
Sure. Keep as well. I agree. I think he can be amazing. Like I think he's one of those strikers that will, by the time he's 26, be a different player. And that would probably be for the better. And he's already recognized as a very good, efficient, good value signing. That's, I know he had an injury recently, but he's generally been available, and he's intelligent. He's super intelligent in terms of what should be done.
Super skillful, too.
Super skillful, but granted the execution sometimes in final actions is frustrating. He can be selfish, which is good and bad for a striker. I think everyone in football knows that he's very, very good. And I know, like, if we sign, I think genuinely, if we sign another striker, I think great Chelsea teams have had 3 strikers before, high-profile strikers, and when they're all young, and I'm talking about senior high-profile strikers. So when they're all young, why not? Why not have an Ekatike, a Delap, and a Jackson all fighting and seeing who rises to the top and who needs to be sold at the end of the season? So I think keep regardless.
Well, then we're going to get to one player that is just forces Yan to walk off on camera, is Christopher Nkunku. 95.5% said sell, 4% said keep, and then essentially 0.7% says loan, which does not make any type of sense here. So I'm just going to go with the fact that we all believe that sale is the right way, shape, and form forward for both Christopher Nkunku and Chelsea Football Club at this point. It just didn't work out the way that anyone would have hoped. That injury that just changed the trajectory of like what could have happened with him, and never really bounced back or I think fully recovered from it. I mean, this past season did have 17 goal and assist contributions across the 20 starts that he had and the 40 matches that he featured in. But if you kind of think about
it, #farm hands.
3 goals is
throwback
in the 23-24 season for Chelsea, and then 5 goal contributions last season in the Premier League. It just had never kind of gotten on to his Bundesliga numbers.
Nah, the sulking kind of bothered me, to be honest. Like I get it. I get that it'd be frustrating to be behind a Nico Jackson who scores inconsistently, but the effort, he never put forward the effort that Nico did. And that was the end of the story. Like if you want to play at the big boy level, especially in the Premier League, you got to be full out. And he just never really was for us.
And it's a functionality thing. He just doesn't fit. It's just simple, easy.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Easy as you like. Another one, no surprise, Cole Palmer, 99%.
How is this not 100%? What are we, guys?
Again, because the Arsenal fans are voting in there.
The Arsenal fans have snuck in, man. I told you.
As Tottenham fans are real bitter. Look, it's a keep. There's no other conversation we need to have about Cole Palmer in the team. It is just a guaranteed lock and load. Tyreek George, though, is one that at least split the listeners. Maybe did not split us as deftly. 52.6% said keep, 0.5% said sell, which feels very unkind. No kind regards there. And then a loan at 47%. I mean, and this is definitely one where it feels like he's going to get minutes across the number of competitions that Chelsea Football Club are going to be playing in next season.
Tyreek George, he's very skillful. He's tall. Don't play him as a striker because he's tall. Maresca, we learned that very quickly. But he can occupy central positions. You can play on both sides. He's a very good finisher, despite only scoring a couple of goals. He's got that confidence. Very happy to keep him. unless there seems to be a really great loan opportunity for him where they're like, we want you to be our star guy for a season. But the loan would, of course, for me, have no option to buy. It would just be like, go and be a stud somewhere, and and let's see how you get on. But because he can play on both sides, because we're in Europe still, and because he's getting a year older and more developed, he can be a Chelsea player, unless there's a great opportunity for him to be a non-buy option loan.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way that you loan him is if you get in like a mega talent, like Nico Williams or someone of that profile, because I think the opportunities would be limited for him, and like he needs to build on last season where he did play, I think, way more than we expected. The sliding doors moment with Mudryk not being available for all the reasons that we know is that Tyreek George gets to play a lot more.
So sorry, just on that. So say it looks like Gittins is going over the line.
Yeah.
Do you mean on top of Gittins? So
exactly.
Fine, sure.
Because I think we're going to end up selling a few of these guys that are like on the periphery, and I think you're going to get someone like Gittins in. I think you're going to potentially go after another because you need production from these wingers, regardless. Like you're playing big boy football now, so you need scoring, you need shot conversion that is going to rival the best teams in the world. I think that's the only way that he does not stay at Chelsea. And then a loan to an attractive team, there will be plenty lined up to take him. Like he's a very good talent. I want to see him succeed at Chelsea Football Club, but he needs to play football at this point.
Agree, totally. Yeah, so pretty much aligned with you there.
I'm so glad that we all came to the same conclusion here. Marc Guiu is one. Good guy, Guiu. With 86% saying that loan is the best option for him, 8.6% saying sell, and then 5.4% saying keep. It does feel as if bringing Delap, having at least Delap and at least right now, Nico Jackson, maybe another striker, maybe other attackers coming in, feels like the minutes pool has dried up for him heading into next season. And so beyond the Club World Cup, you would imagine that he finds another club to really apply his trade. I think you have a specific league that you would like to see him in, though, Jan.
I wrote instead of Hulk smash, I wrote Guiu smash in the championship on loan. I think he'd do really well in the he's a throwback central striker. I was going to say central defender and striker, but he's a throwback for me. I think but he's also got a great finish on him. He's pressed like a maniac. I think he'd just go and be a starting, despite being 19, not even 20. I think he'd start for a good championship side, score a bunch of goals. Chelsea can have a look at him after that.
Maybe a Frank Lampard Coventry side.
Oh la la, like it. Yeah, there you go. Coventry.
Let's get into a couple of more polarizing ones here. You have Joao Felix with 87% saying we should sell him. Probably the same 87% of people said we shouldn't have bought him back in
the first place.
Yeah. 10% saying keep. You had 3% saying loan, and you're saying this one hurts, but you're still selling.
As a Joao Felix truther, it's just a throwback from our last show we did together. I like Joao Felix. I think he looks like Kaká, which is fun. And even that Milan shirt, it says fun. He's a cultured baller, but he's football's orphan, isn't he? He's gonna go to Benfica. It's a shame. Because I like how he loved being at Chelsea as well. I like that. I was like, wow, he's super talented. He's fun. And he likes being here. But I'm starting to. I was going from this like, wow, this really superstar talent loves being at Chelsea, to me thinking, maybe I just liked him in the same way I got really excited Pato signed for Chelsea.
Wow, the throwbacks you're putting in this KSL are quite wonderful.
Yeah, so if we can sell, but it might be a loan to sell, whatever.
He's going to be a fascinating case study someday of an agent screwing up his whole career and he not rising to the level that everyone thought he could be at. Yeah. He's going to thrive at Benfica.
Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Chelsea, Milan.
Yeah.
If we didn't interview him at person, I might say that actually he was a hologram. It didn't exist. And this was just a total case of market manipulation and extreme sports fraud. So just but I've met him in
Obrigado
person.
and
Very nice
adios.
guy.
Yeah, obrigado, yeah.
Raheem Sterling is another one, polarizing. 97% said sell. Clearly to Arsenal. We'd love for them to keep him for another season. 33% said keep, and then 0.3% said loan. I think all of us said it is time to move on. I think it is one of the most difficult players to probably move on unless you're
he's going to need to accept
go to another country.
A huge wage decrease.
Unless
my
one, I said give him the captaincy, brackets, at Al Nassr. But yeah, I genuinely, I feel like he'll have to take a 75. If he wants to play in the Prem in London, he takes a 75% wage cut and goes to Fulham.
Or I could see him going to Palace too.
Yeah.
One of those. Yeah.
Well trod cloth, yeah.
All right. An incoming attacker that is generating a lot of excitement is Estevao, and that is at 89%. People said keep. They want to see him on the team next season. 9.5% said loan him again, which I don't like the idea of. And then 1.4% said sell. I think all of us are saying keep on this one. We're excited to see him contribute in the attack, but I think there is just the comma. Like, we don't want to put too much pressure on the young kid as he's coming in to automatically solve all of Chelsea's woes when it comes to scoring goals. But the highlights are great, Nick. I mean, you've talked to Nath and Jess so much of this season about how he's been doing in Brazil and the excitement around him. So we just want to caution that it is a confident keep, but please be patient.
This is one that Chelsea has to get fucking right. Chelsea, the club, the organization, has to get him embedded properly, used to life in London. The fact that Andre Santos is going to be at the team, the fact that, Kendry will be around the ecosystem, the fact that, this team does have some burgeoning leadership in it, I think will be all good for him, for sure. He knows a lot of his
Portuguese speaking looks after him.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's a lot to like here, but if we get this wrong, if we screw him up, we are going to be laughed out of every other room that would exist for high-profile South American talent for until the end of time. So get this right. Slow transition. I think by the end of the season, he's a contributor, but it's going to take him a while. Like he is.
I totally agree. But he might. I mean, I agree. Never played in Europe. He's 18. Doesn't speak English,
and he's a wee lad. I mean,
and he's a wee lad. But at the end of the day, like I don't want to like
certified baller. He is a baller.
He's gift from God, bro. Like, he's broken all Neymar's records. Do you know what I mean? And you got freaking Carlo Ancelotti for the Brazil team starting him in games, going like mustard, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like So
I agree.
For me, I understand the caution, but for me, like, I'm feeling pretty relaxed because it's either he doesn't score loads of goals straight away and you go, yeah, he's a kid, don't worry about it, or he exercises his talent and people go, and you go, yeah, he's fucking sick, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that I'm not worrying too much, but I know what you mean. And for longer term, like let's make sure this kid reaches his potential in his career. But we'd have to go serious Man United to kill this kid.
I mean, I'm just saying, Andre Santos has the hard mentality. Like that dude is captain, ready to roll, can adapt to situation. I don't know if he's the exact same. And I think you got to treat him in a way that helps him to be the best version of himself. Fair. and not just throw him into the fucking deep end and hope he can swim. That's all.
Yeah, totally agree.
Real quick then, our last individual before we get to our total team reveals, Kendry Paez is the last individual here. Keep, sell, loan on it. 67%, almost 68% said loan, 30% said keep, and then 2% said sell. I think it very much is the loan. And Nick,
he's gone to Strasbourg. I think
Strasbourg.
It's briefed.
It'll
be a good move for him, just like it was Santos.
He's going to be our loan of the season next year. He's going to thrive there. I think he's a really dynamic player. I think he's going to need to grow up a little bit.
Keep an eye on him, basically.
Yeah. But I think he's going to be great there.
Cool.
All right. So, why don't you give us your full squad? Now that Keep, Sell, Loan 25-26 is in the books, we have teams put together.
Okay. Yes, Magic Mike, hopefully / probably. I said Penders as number 2 if he's ready. If not, I feel like we might buy someone else. I don't think Petrovic will accept number 2. Like everyone else, Vibesman bets. Right back, Reece James / the second choice would be fill-ins. So I've put Josh, Fofana, Chalobah if he indeed stays. They can all play in that sort of role. Centre backs, Levi, Fofo, my boy, mon gars, mon frère, mon premier joueur. Le meilleur joueur dans Chelsea. Josh Chiampong. Tosin.
The hard pivot.
Yeah, and I've put in a new guy at the end because I think we'll sign a centre back. Midfielders, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Lavia, Santos, Asugo. I'm not cheating and adding in a 6th. Attackers.
You're not going to say your left backs?
Oh shit! Sorry, it's because I need a piss and I don't have much time left. Cucurella, Isho, Samuel Smiths, and I put Wire third in question mark. But I didn't forget about Gerald Hatto, so really professionally winding this up now. So I'm going to remove that and say new / Hatto. Oh, I don't need to change it. Yeah. Midfielders, Caicedo, Fernandez, Lavia, Santo, Asugo, #no 6th. Attackers, Cole Palmer, Noni Madueke, Pedro Neto, Jamie Gittins, and then I've put Tariq George / new signing. So pretty much what we've discussed if that initial guy comes on. And then strikers, I said 3, Delap, Nico, and Hugo.
Ooh.
Question mark. So I've got no issue with having 3 good strikers at Chelsea next season.
I don't disagree with you. Nicholas Verlaine, you want to give us yours?
Yes. Incoming transfer at goalkeeper. I think we know who we're talking about there. Petrovic and Betts. Vibesman Betts, I believe, is now his official name. Right back is Reece and Josh. Center backs, Levi, Trev, incoming transfer, Tosin, and then maybe Fofana Veiga, just depending on the transfer situation. Left back, Cucurella, Gusto, and then promoting Ishe Samuel Smith, who does not count against the numbers. Midfield, Caicedo, Enzo, Andre Santos, Romeo Lavia, Dario Sugo, and a 6th if we shift to a midfield 3. And it's not cheating if you have the formation called out. I think that's an important thing, which is maybe Carnes or Ugochukwu, depending on how that goes. Attackers, Cole, incoming transfer, maybe 1 or 2 that could be Gittins, and my hope is a real talent like Nico Williams. Maybe Ty, Madueke, Neto, Estevao, part of the team. I don't believe Yan you had him on your lineup there.
Oh,
and then,
shit!
Yeah. And then
I tell you, add him.
Jackson, Delap, and then maybe the incoming transfer that I think we all know it's being talked about, and Hugo Ekitike, which is just fun to say.
Yeah, thanks Dan for updating my attackers there with Estevao Willian. Sorry. Yeah.
So I have 20 without transfers, 25 with transfers, making the full squad.
Cool.
All right. Well, no surprise as I finish up this last bit of busy work before we get to the end of this podcast. Magic Mike, Petrovic, if he's willing to stay, and Betts as that goalkeeping 3. I was the only one who said that Malo Gusto probably stays. So I had Reece and Malo as our right back situation here. Agree or disagree? That's just what I think is going to happen. Levi, Colwell, Tosin, Trev, Wes, and Josh as your center back grouping. I don't think we add anybody there. That's just, again, what I think happens. Cucurella and a new signing to cover off on left back. I think it's, again, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia, Andre Santos, and Uswigol. What are we going to say?
Usugol.
Until I know, I'm not touching that.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until we know if he actually can score a goal for Chelsea Football Club, we're not going to touch it.
It's
attackers, Cole, Nani, Neto, Ty. If Gittins comes in, Estevao, so you get 6 attackers there. And then Delap plus a striker. If we don't sign Hugo, then it's Nico Jackson.
Boom.
That's it.
Sounds good to me.
We had a couple differences there. They weren't exactly overlaps, but we did good business. And so you're welcome. Chelsea Football Club hierarchy from the top to the bottom.
Roadmap.
You're more than welcome to take all the work here. Just a consulting fee, not out of bounds. if you're wondering, a small donation could be made to a charity of our choosing. We'd be happy to accept that. Anyway, that's going to do it for Keep Sell Loan 2526. Thanks for Yan for not disrupting it completely and adding value. And
I tried my hardest. I didn't manage to cancel, so we'll do that next time. I'll find a way to take this podcast down if this is the last thing I do. I'll do it.
Exactly what your YouTube audience is looking for. But that's going to do it from Nick, from myself, from Yan. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for enjoying KSL 2526. Plenty more content coming your way. Don't forget, we'll be in Philly, in Atlanta, and in New York around the Club World Cup activities. So get involved with that. Survey is out for listeners as well to fill out regarding feedback for the podcast heading into how we shape it in the next year. But until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep blue flag flying high.